Today my alternate personality is going to be making a coat rack to go behind the front door in my house. The entire coat rack will come from this single 8-foot long piece of 1x8. It is pine, and it's actually a really clear piece of pine. There's no knots, no significant knots in this entire board. He's going to make the coat rack, and I've already done the hard work by purchasing the hooks that we're going to use. These are horse head hooks. My wife really likes horses, so a lot of stuff in our house is horses already. And I purchased these about a year ago, and we'll use these with whatever he makes out of that. Just to give you a quick idea of how this will be assembled, pretend that the work table here is the wall and that is the up direction. This is the bottom rail, the larger of the two rails, and it's going to have the hooks mounted in it. On top of that will be the vertical stiles, evenly spaced of course, and then on top of that will be the shorter rail connecting everything together, and then one side piece over here, one side piece over here, and then on the top of course will be the shelf. Now when it comes to joinery, it's the same situation as underwear. Plenty of options, choose the one that fits you the best. And for me, I'm going to use floating tenons because it's the quickest thing that I can do here in my shop. Something I haven't done yet though is I want to reduce the thickness of these by 1/8 of an inch, and I think I'll do that at the table saw. Now I'm using floating tenons because, like I said, it's the quickest thing that I have in my shop. And just to prevent the top and bottom rails from bowing apart, possibly, I'm going to glue just the middle style. But if you don't have any type of way to make floating tenon joinery, or maybe you don't want to use dowels or something like that, a quick alternative, if you have a table saw and are familiar with making tongue and groove joinery, is to make all of the stiles have tongues on their ends, and then make a groove on the bottom side of the top rail and then the top side of the bottom rail to connect it together like a tongue and groove door. And then come back and use some type of square stock sized exactly the same size as the grooves, and just fill the rest of the grooves and evenly space out all of the stiles. With the main body of this project done, I can get accurate reference lines to attach the sides and top panel or top shelf the exact same way with the same joinery. However, as I'm putting this together, it dawned on me that all of this is going to be covered up on the backside anyway because it's going to be up against the wall, so there's no reason why you couldn't use pocket holes. It's not a structural project. Everything will hold just fine with pocket holes. The only place where you couldn't use a pocket hole is where the side panels or the side pieces on the front side where they attach to the top shelf, which that's okay anyway because in this case I'm just going to pre-drill from above and use a screw and then plug that hole, paint over it. You'll never see it. It's all going to be the same anyway. So this pipe clamp bench vise has really been handy. It's a DIY vise, extremely easy to make, and I found tons of uses for it, especially with this particular project. But anyway, all we have left to do is just sand here and there, round off all the corners, and maybe scrape the inside corner of these curves that I cut on the bandsaw, and then it's going to be ready for paint. But before I do paint it, I am going to drill the mounting holes through the top rail, and that way I can get a little bit of white paint inside the mounting hole. Once it's up on the wall, I'll just touch up the screws with white, and it'll all blend very easily. While he's putting the first coat of paint on the project, I want to talk with you real quick about one of the leading online learning websites, lynda.com. And if you're not familiar with lynda.com, it's basically a huge warehouse full of video tutorials and online courses to help you learn personal and business skills. So for example, if you'd like to learn how to shoot video on a DSLR, or maybe edit that video footage, possibly build a website, there's video courses on there for all three of those, as well as thousands of others. So I'm personally recommending this because I've personally used it and I know that you will benefit from it. So the folks at lynda.com want to give everybody a free 10-day unlimited access trial. To go to lynda.com/JB, that's my initials, pretty easy to remember. Make sure you use that URL so they know that I sent you. Go ahead and get a free 10-day trial. I know you'll benefit from it. Thanks to Lynda for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to the project. It looks pretty good after 2 coats of paint, so I'm screwing on these hooks, and the only screws that I have are silver, so once this is all done, I'll cover up these screws with maybe some brown and black paint.